Florida's Republican Trump-loving governor Ron DeSantis this week got in a bit of a heated exchange with a reporter when the reporter asked him while he was doing a press conference about how immigrants are to blame for the surge in COVID cases here in the state of Florida. Reporter asked him, hey, we've got a lot of children in this state now being admitted to intensive care units due to COVID infections. This disease is, in fact, affecting children at a much higher rate thanks to the Delta variant than it had previously. The original COVID, now we're on Delta. Lambdas coming up strong behind it. And kids in the state of Florida and all over the country are being admitted to the hospital at alarming rates we had not yet seen with this disease. So Ron DeSantis got furious at the reporter for daring to ask a question about sick kids in his state. And here's his response. You're blaming the kids, saying they weren't wearing masks, so they're in the ICU? With all due respect, I find that deplorable to blame a victim who ends up being hospitalized. Somebody can contract a highly transmissible airborne virus and they're viewed as having done something wrong? That's just not the way you do it, Ron says. Here's the thing, Ron. Nobody's blaming the kids. Nobody's blaming the kids whatsoever. They're blaming you, and you know that. But you're trying to shift it here like, oh, you're saying the kid made a mistake and now they're in the hospital? How dare you attack children? Not on my watch. No, we're going after you, buddy, because you're the one who made it illegal in the state of Florida to put a mask mandate in place. You're the one who signed an executive order telling school districts, if you mandate masks, I'm pulling your funding. This is on you. Those kids in the ICU, that's you. The people dying from COVID in the state of Florida, higher rate than any other place in the country, that is on you. Record hospitalizations here in the state of Florida, that's on you. Record infections, that's on you. Nobody's blaming the children who most of them, are not eligible for the vaccine. And if they are eligible for it, they're under the age of 18 and they don't get to make the decision on whether or not they get it. That decision is left with the parents because they are still minors. What really gets me about this is that we have schools starting next week here in the state of Florida. Some of the largest counties, Orange County in particular, other counties up here in Northwest Florida, they all go back next week or within the next 2 weeks. And there's no mask mandates. At least as of right this second, me sitting here talking, there's no mask mandates yet. Now, the Board of Education is supposed to meet today, Friday. And they're going to come up with a plan, allegedly. And honestly, I'm hoping that plan involves mask mandates. They've done away with online school. DeSantis has hinted that he may give out vouchers. If you don't want your kids to wear masks at school, I'll give you a voucher to go to a private school, and then, hey, you can infect anybody you want. But those infections are still going to be on him. And furthermore, if we have kids going around unmasked here in the state of Florida, it's likely not the kids making that decision. Parents are making those decisions. I know I have my kids mask up when we go to the grocery store. When we did the parent-teacher meet and greet with the kids where they went and dropped off their supplies this week, my kids were masked up. They were some of the only kids masked up. Other school districts, based on conversations I have had with teachers here in the state of Florida, including the one that I am married to, have had to go through and actually have meetings with their teachers telling them to make sure they protect the masked up children from being bullied by the non-masked children for wearing masks. So they already know that they're going to have a serious problem. And these kids could be bullied into taking off their masks, further putting themselves at risk. Furthermore, parents are less likely to send their kids to school wearing masks because we do not have a mask mandate and because there's no federal mandate for this or statewide mandate for this. They're likely thinking to themselves, well, it must not be that big of a problem. See, that's the issue. When you have a failure in leadership and people depend on that leadership to essentially make their decisions for them, because let's be perfectly honest, people are sheep. But if the government says no, you don't need to do this, people will say, oh, well, good, that's a relief. No, you don't have to wear a mask to school, little Johnny. Go ahead, get on that bus, cough in somebody's face. I don't care. And obviously, that's dangerous. Children are getting sick from this. Children are in the ICUs from this. And based on what we know, they could have long-term, possibly even permanent health effects from this virus. And Ron DeSantis would rather attack a reporter than admit that his policies are getting people killed.